You have a thumb drive you want to? Okay. All right, I'm just gonna minimize this. She just has a couple of plans on there, that's all. It's recording, it's just not streaming. I'm gonna go back to my office. Yeah, you can go.
We're going to call this meeting to order. Would you first please join us in a salute to our nation's flag?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I wanted to say the most important person to our board is not here tonight. Carol wasn't able to attend our meeting, so we'll miss her. So let the record show that Supervisors Cassiola, Agizio, Fisher, Barney, and Schifani are in attendance. In addition, Jack King, our Assistant Township Manager and Director of Planning, Sean Bukovinsky, our Chief of Police, Bill Botworth, our Director of Public Works, Dan Miller, our Southbridge EMS Director, our Interim Fire Chief Ted Wolford, our Township Engineer Dan Dodgeroth of Gateway, and Solicitor Gretchen Moore. At this time, we will take comments from anybody in the residence who has an item on the agenda that you see you want to ask a question about or comment on. Please feel free to make it at this time.
Yeah, I have a question. Resolution 189, 2024. So where's the funding coming to pay for this grant? Like, who's paying the services of the engineer?
All the costs are covered. It won't cost us anything. We're just a
Who's paying,
go-between.
who's paying for it?
Koski is paying his share, and I know he's working with the DEP on grants through the Bureau of Mines.
So years ago, we chose not to get involved in this property because of potential lawsuits. By doing this grant application, sponsoring it, does that tie us into anything?
Well, we didn't choose to get in because of potential lawsuits. We chose not to get in because of the potential financial risk.
My question is there potential lawsuits by sponsoring this grant?
Gretchen?
I haven't looked at any of this, but typically I would say no, because I don't know what the arrangement's going to be, but there's usually protections for the township if they're involved in any way in any kind of grant application. I haven't looked at this one in particular.
Well, I think before you approve it, she needs to look at it to make sure it's not typical, that there's no potential.
This is her environmental cleanup of the waste coal issue. It has nothing to do with the other environmental issues on the property.
It says spoil, it's the reclaiming soil up there.
No, what they're gonna do is they're gonna grade and cap the existing bony pile is really what they're gonna do.
Okay. Well, I think the solicitor needs to look at it. So
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's fine.
Thank you, Kevin. Our announcements, the 32nd Annual Cruising Classic Car Show will be this Sunday, August 18th. Our Historical Society will meet on Wednesday, August 21st at 7 p.m. in this building room here. Our Cecil Township Parks and Recreation Board will sponsor a movie in the park on Saturday. It says the movie will be If, and the concession stand will be open. Our municipal offices will be closed on Monday, September 2nd in observance of Labor Day. Our normal business hours will resume at 8 a.m. on Tuesday, September 3rd. And due to that, the Labor Day holiday, the Board of Supervisors' regular meeting will be held on Tuesday, September 3rd at 7 p.m. So we're a day later next week. Also, the Board of Supervisors will hold a continuation of a public hearing regarding the oil and gas ordinance on Wednesday, September 4th at 6 p.m. in this room here. A special meeting of the Board of Supervisors will be held immediately following that hearing to consider acting on that pending ordinance. So it will be a special meeting for just that one item. Jordan Tax Services will be here at the Municipal Building on Friday, September 20th, and Tuesday, September 24th, and Friday, September 27th. At this time, we will ask our professional staff to give us some updates on what they're doing. Sean, you're first.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Just to let everybody know, and I'm sure they do, that school's going to be in soon. So be aware of the bus stops and the kids walking around, getting on the buses, and we'll have extra police patrols patrolling the bus stops throughout the first month or so. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Sean.
You're welcome.
Jack, anything with building and zoning? Because he's not here. Bill, Public Works, you want to bring us up?
Chairman, I don't have to speak, but I'll speak up. Our crews have been busy replacing deteriorated inlet frames and adjusting inlet frames to vertical adjustments to bring them back up to grade again. We've had quite a few of those, probably a dozen or more, that we've either replaced or adjusted. We're also busy clearing the roadways of cuttings and branches following our right-of-way mowing. We now have a tractor that's dedicated to blowing the road off once we cut it. So we took the turbine that we had, that we used during the fall for leaf collection, put it on a tractor that weren't using very often, and now we're able to clear the roads out. The roads look really good following our cutting operation, so. And then just to touch on a couple of things, landscaping continues up at the building. For the most part, Schultz has completed their pulling operation as far as the wires. They're now in the electrical room setting boxes and panels. So in relation to that, we wait for West Penn Power to come out and set their poles. Morgan Excavating has cut the bench for them to do so, and we wait to hear from them. Joe and I were just talking about that. We'll touch base with them again tomorrow. We called last week, but Matt was on vacation. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. And then, of course, Independent Enterprises is making good progress on their capital program this year. We have a contract time extension for them due to some delays that we're experiencing, or going to experience, have been experiencing with regard to the work on North DePauli Road because of the activity of Range Resources up there. We have to put that off. So just ahead of that coming up tonight, wanted to let you know why we're requesting a time extension for Independent. I think that's all I have for right now. I could go on, but I won't.
I did see the blower working. It does look nice after they blow the leaves off the road or the grass off the roads.
Thank you.
Good idea. Dan, anything not? on
Yeah,
the
just
reports?
two items I'd like to bring to the board's attention. Number one, Coomer Road, I've been working with Don Januso on trying to obtain the easement that we need at Coomer Road to make the improvements. He formally sent a letter out requesting that easement based upon the appraisal that was done. The property owner has not found that to be favorable. They want to meet again and talk about that. So that's where that one stands. And then secondly, on Walnut Street, the culvert in Muse, Joe informed me today that we're probably about 12 weeks away from the material coming in to build the actual culvert. They have to fabricate that. But we have to deal with the water company who has, believe it or not, the water line goes right underneath the culvert. So we've been in touch with them. We tried coordinating with them at the beginning of the job. They finally gave us an answer back. They want to replace their water line first. So we're going to try to coordinate that all to happen at the same time. So we may be coming back to get a little bit of extra time on the completion of that project also. More to come on that.
Does it sound like the water company will be on it though for us?
They will. They don't want to be under the culvert anymore. They want to be adjacent to it. So they need their own permit to be able to do that from the DEP to make the stream crossing the same one that we have.
Yeah.
They just can't piggyback on our permit, which is crazy, but, you know. So they have to get their permit and get the line moved. They have contractors available, ready to go, but it just,
All right,
the
that's
wheels will take a little time to move.
All right, thank you, Dan. Gretchen, Solicitor's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The board has my formal report. I would say it was a fairly quiet month from a legal side of things. Worked with the manager on legal issues as they arose, worked with the engineer, worked with our code enforcement officer and zoning on issues as they arose, finalized the oil and gas ordinance and prepared for the hearing, which is going to take place in September. On a bit of interesting news, I noted that the sesquicentennial of the United States is coming up in 2 years. So in 2026, it will be the 250th birthday of the United States. And Pennsylvania has what's called, they have a 250 PA going on, and they've had 100% of counties participate in it, and so far 280 townships are participating. And they basically say this is a great opportunity to engage citizens, celebrate the contributions of Pennsylvanians to our Commonwealth's and nation's history, encourage and inspire future leaders, and hopefully spark an interest in the next generation to appreciate the triumphs, trials, and tribulations that shaped our Commonwealth. So it's a good opportunity. I don't know if Cecil is participating, but there's a resolution that Cecil can sign on. It's a great opportunity to engage the Historical Society and plan some events around it. So if Cecil hasn't already and they're interested in the resolution, I can share that with you all. Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ted? You can't talk loud like Bill, right?
Yeah, right. The only thing I have to report is we were assigned a DCED consultant for the fire department merger. I got some information late today. We're looking at meeting with the steering committee next week, so we should have some more information in September on the merger process.
That it?
Yep.
All right, thank you. Dan?
Our report was submitted, and we did come up with a CPR date. We're going to try for October 5th. It should be at the Township Building, and what we're going to try to do early afternoon, we're going to do a hands-only CPR. So if anybody wants to go through like a community effort, bystander CPR, we'll do that. And then afterwards, anybody who needs a certification, we'll do the prolonged certification course for that. So October 5th, if you're interested, we'll put some flyers up and push it out during the Fall Festival. So.
And it's free. It will be free to community members. So Dan and Southbridge volunteer their time, and the township opens. I'll be here to open the building for everyone. So please try to attend. Free to get certified too? Yep. Sorry.
Thank you, Dan. Dan, any update on the Public Works?
Bill did such a great job on the Public Works report. I don't think there's much else to say, except I just want to remind everybody that West Penn Power doesn't work for free. We've had in the budget the cost for them to bring in this three-phase power. They've not given us a bill yet. We're still waiting on that, but we have it budgeted. That's it.
All right, what about Klinger Road to work on the the vertical?
Morgan got us cut in correctly. Yeah, he got the power cut in. That's the most important thing that he had to do. Once they get the poles in, then he can go to work.
So they have the bench established for the location of the poles, and then they're waiting for them to get the poles in, then they'll start their work. Their equipment's up there. We're waiting on West Penn to give us a date when they plan on coming in. They have one pole to remove, and then there's an excavated area on the embankment where they're planting, where they're going to place two poles and an anchor. So once West Penn does that, Morgan's prepared to move forward with their work.
All right, I saw that cut up, that grade, is that the grade of the road? We'll be cutting through that grade of your bench up there?
That cuts the approximate bottom of the road where it's going to be cut to. From the vertical, top vertical, it's about 6 foot, right, Joe? Yep. So it's going to be a huge safety enhancement.
All right, thank you. I'm going to go right to our resolutions. I'm going to change one item on the agenda. We're going to move item number 190, 2024. We're going to act on that first, so the applicant doesn't have to stay for our business meeting. So for item 190, 2024, it's consider the application for the intermunicipal light liquor license transfer from Sims East in 80 Trinity Point Drive, South Strabane Township, to Georgetown Oaks LLC for use at the 11 Mayview Road site. It's that pickleball court that you probably heard about last month. We did have a hearing earlier this evening about it, and we were able to vote on it. So is there a motion on the board to
I'll
approve
make the
this
motion.
application? Been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The motion carries. Next item, 182, 2024, it's to consider ordinance number 5, 2024, amending the following sections of the Cecil Township zoning ordinance. Section 2240, 12A, to clarify that the Board of Supervisors has discretion to act on proposed ordinance amendments, and Section 240, 12C, to add review procedures, and Section 240, 12D, to improve public notice. I know I wanted Gretchen to explain it. It sounds a little bit complicated, but it's really simplifying what our ordinance originally said.
Yeah, so this actually is an ordinance that we held the hearing in April, so this isn't something new. We already had the hearing, it just kind of didn't make the agenda. So we did re-advertise a notice of intent to adopt, just so everybody's aware. But this is actually just a couple changes to the zoning ordinance to make it clear that when someone comes in with a rezoning request, the board doesn't have to act or consider or hold hearings on those. The board can consider whether they want to hold a hearing. So it's clear now that if they make the determination to hold a hearing, then they will. And I also cleaned up the advertising provisions so that they're consistent with the MPC. And that's pretty much what this ordinance amendment does.
Is there a motion?
Excuse me,
Yes.
the time period, did it change from 45 days to 30
For which thing? So there's
for
different.
advertising?
So there's
Use the
different
microphone.
advertising, so zoning.
Gretchen, make sure you use the microphone.
Zoning, there's different advertising dates, so zoning map changes are 45 to the planning commissions.
Okay.
But then the normal advertising in the paper, and if a property owner is affected, it's 30 to the property owner.
Okay.
So that's for zoning map, not for zoning amendments, though, just regular zoning amendments. So there's just different time periods for different processes.
Okay.
You okay, Board, Ellen? I mean, geez, Darlene?
I'm okay.
Okay, all right. Is there a motion to approve that ordinance change?
So moved.
It's been moved. Second. And seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. For number 183, 2024, it's to consider application number 2024-0013 for the Kaufman subdivision. It's, Dan, it says it's contingent on your letter. Did you get any clarifications on those conditions?
Yeah, we have, they've addressed our comments, correct.
That's what I thought. So that's not contingent? In other words, when we approve it, there's no,
Yeah, you don't need to make it contingent upon our letter. They've addressed all our comments. They've written a clean letter.
all right, it's for 39 Grange Road in McDonald. Planning Commission recommended approval on July 18th. Is there a motion to approve this Kaufman subdivision?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The motion carries. Is there something wrong?
We had a water leak right above there, and it's still impacting some microphones. I'm not sure which one it is.
All right, the motion carries. For item number 184, 2024, it's consider the transmittal of the sewage facilities planning module, component 1 to the DEP, as recommended by our Washington County Sewage Enforcement Officer for the proposed Gillespie subdivision. Applicant Frederick Zakor on 30 Vertical Drive in a C1 General Commercial Zoning District.
Yeah, we held this up at the planning commission until we get clarification on sewage.
Yeah, make sure you're talking into the mic. I'm not sure they can hear you.
This was held up at the planning commission pending the sewage application coming through, so that's good that they've made this application. They're getting forth. I just put up the subdivision plan where they propose to subdivide a lot, so they need to get the sewage squared away on this first.
Is that for the holding tank?
I believe they're gonna need a holding tank here, correct? Or a septic system, standard septic. It's not a commercial lot, I don't believe. But it doesn't matter. It's just the sewage officer has recommended this, and the board needs to really just sign off on the resolution related to submitting it. That's it. And transmittal.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to approve this facilities planning module? It's been moved. Second. And seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. For item number 185, 2024, let's consider setting the date for a public hearing regarding a conditional use application for Embassy Park Associates at 6,000 Town Center Boulevard.
Yeah, this is actually something the board's gonna see. This is Embassy Park right here, in the center of South Point, the two buildings that are connected by bridges. They want to come back in and actually propose residential in these buildings. So they'll be here for a hearing because in the SD district, we need to change the use. Their site plan for South Point only includes this for commercial, it doesn't include it for residential. So they need the board to allow residential to be here also to take the next step to converting part of this to apartments.
Will the owners association have to be involved also?
Yes, though they will be, but that's all them. Really, Horizon is the owners association. It's not there's SPOA 1 and SPOA 2, there's SPOA 2.
All right.
But they'll be here next meeting with their attorney to at the hearing for the board on that. Whenever you decide to set the hearing, I'm sorry.
They gave you a 30-day extension, so that date is coming up August 15th.
Our sound guy said he will be here next week to install the new equipment that we approved 3 months ago.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask that everybody just turn the microphone off until they go to speak? And I think we can minimize that noise. Sorry about that.
I don't know how long of a hearing you think we'll need. Anybody have any input on that?
Took them about 15 minutes at the planning commission meeting.
All right.
We had one before, and it didn't even take more than a half an hour. Remember, we had that
Half hour
one.
would be plenty.
How about 6 o'clock before our next meeting?
6 or 6:30.
Well,
That's fine. 6 o'clock's fine.
I mean, there's already residential in that area on what, 1400?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I mean, it's a perfect fit because the buildings are kind of, there's a lot of buildings in South Point that you couldn't do this to, but this one sort of sets up well for that.
And it'd help Main Street too, get more
Yes.
residents in there. That was our goal all along.
So
All right,
6
how about if we
o'clock?
set it for 6 PM at our September 3rd meeting?
Yep, September 3rd, 6
All right.
p.m.
We're speaking to the,
I have one question. Is this what they're considering for senior living rather than just apartments? Or is this for like 1400 Main Street? It could be anybody getting apartments in that particular park.
Yeah, I don't recall, Darlene, that they said that this was going to only be for seniors. It was for rent. I don't think they've even gotten that far to decide.
you can bring that up at the hearing
can
with,
ask
in
them,
front of the
yeah.
applicant, right?
Okay.
All right, so we set that date. For item number 186, 2024, it's consider the application of payment number 15 for the work completed at the Public Works Facility, the electrical project in an amount of $37,744.15 to SC Schultz Electric.
I'll make a motion.
It's been, Dan, do you have anything to, is that?
No, this is just normal
All right, so, yeah.
process. The electricals, some of the final work that's being done.
All right.
Everybody else is pretty
That's
much near the end of the project, just holding retainage, so.
All right, it's been moved, is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Anybody opposed to this? I got it. The motion carries 4-1. For item number 187, 2024, it's to consider application for payment number 2 for the work completed on our salt shed on the site preparation project in amount of $67,575.90 to Independent Enterprises.
Yeah, we're recommending this payment. There's still work to be completed. We're still holding retainage, and there's still a balance to finish the job of about $50,000.
All right, is there a motion to approve? It's been moved
Second.
and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? And the motion carries 4-0 to 1 with 1 abstention. For item number 188, 2024, it's to consider the application for payment number 2 for the work completed on Contract A in our 2024 Pavement Maintenance Program in the amount of $423,535.95 to independent enterprises, along with the change order number 1, authorizing them a 1-month extension for a contract due to allowing Range Resources to finish some current work they're working on DePauli Road.
And again, this is just a progress payment. This is, there's still retainage and a balance to finish a project of about $400,000.
For clarification, it's not because Range is doing work on North DePauli Road, it's because they're running water trucks.
I mean, yeah, they're using it, you're right.
The frac.
It's in our best interest to hold off on that till those trucks get off of there. So is there a motion to approve? It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion carries 4-0 to 1 with 1 abstention. For item number 189, 2024, it's consider awarding the consulting engineer for the PA Department of Environmental Protection, as Dan described, for the abandoned mine work. Again, the township is sponsoring the grant, but no township funds will be used in the project. If you have any questions for Dan, I know he explained it already a little bit, but does anybody have any questions? Anybody? Is there a motion to approve this motion? It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. For item number 191-2024, it's consider the proposal from Fairfield Landscaping to apply insect control on our Klinger fields at a cost of $1,567.50. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved, but my only request is that they get this done this week before the kids start, like our rentals start the second week of August.
Or the condition, the approval will be conditioned on getting it done this
now.
week.
Okay.
I'm sure they can do it. Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. What I hear? The motion carries. For our item number 192, 2024, consider that our Board of Supervisors meetings from the Monday, July 1st, 2024, regular monthly meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? It's been moved.
Second.
And seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The motion carries. For item number 193, 2024, it's to consider our general fund invoices from July 1st through July 31st, 2024. Is there a motion to approve it?
So moved.
Making the motion, is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The motion carries. All right, at this time, we do have time for the residents who want to make comments on any other unrelated items. So please feel free to come up to the mic, but please state your name and address for the record. Anybody?
I have something I like to inform everybody of.
Okay, speak loud.
Building, the roof on this building needs to be looked at. You should probably start thinking about soliciting bids to see what it would cost to have the roof replaced on this building as well as the gutters. It's in bad shape. This leak that's up here, my guys are fearful to go up there anymore because the wood's rotted up there. So it's probably time to start thinking about having the roof
Because of a leak
replaced.
around the skylights.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it's time to think about that. I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention, that the roof's in need of replacement.
That's what he's suggesting. We gotta talk about that, though. I don't think the time is right for the shingles to be replaced. If there's repair work has to be done, that's one thing. It's only,
We won't know until the shingles are off what
well,
needs
well, no,
replaced.
if you have some rotted wood, you normally take the shingles off in that area. I mean, you have to be under contract, but, that wood has to be repaired. You don't replace all the shingles on a whole building because you have.
Shingles are, Tom, are in bad shape on this
But
building.
They're
curled.
30-year shingles.
What's that?
They're 30-year shingles.
How old's this building?
It's, what,
30
it's only
years?
20 years, isn't it?
Yeah, you're getting close. The shingles are starting to curl, and there's a lot of granular material in the gutter.
Probably
So
25 at this point.
that's an indication your shingles are near the end of their life. So
Curling, but okay.
I'm just bringing it to your attention.
Why don't
That's
we
all.
do this? Why don't you get some people out here to go up there, get us some bids and some quotes, and take a look at what actually needs to be repaired, and then get it to us? And we can
Okay. Yeah.
Bill, skylights, are they worth keeping them?
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either.
Not if they're closed all the time. When it
They're
was first
closed
designed,
all
it
the
was-
time and it's a leaky
when-
roof.
When they were first designed, though, it was to have this room lit well, so people can come here during the day and not have to have just fluorescent lights on. And it worked, but I know they've been covered a lot. I'm not exactly
It
sure
probably
why.
would be cheaper just to remove them and just put the plywood
yeah.
down and do the whole job.
All right, we can talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll make some inquiry with different contractors.
All right.
Have them come out and assess the current condition of the roof. But
Yeah, the current condition.
preliminarily, looking at it with my guys,
Well,
the
that-
shingles are starting to curl, and you're getting a lot of granular material in the gutters.
What's a
So-
steep roof? They shouldn't be up there anyhow if they're not roofers. But anyhow, I'm just saying, repair work and replacement of shingles are two different things, so,
Of course, I know that.
all right.
Thanks.
All right, anybody want comments? Yes, sir.
Hello, hello. Mark Litzel, Georgetown Estates. Nice to see you again. It's the monthly meeting. I'm still wrapping my head around the new ordinance and the creation of the oil and gas overlay districts, and so I'm not really going to get into that right now. I have really one question. We saw an updated map from July 7th that showed that 2 well pads were no longer bordering Georgetown Estates. Is that the most current map, or has that changed?
That, the one you saw has changed. And I think Jack just put it on tonight. Did you say you got it on tonight, Jack?
Yeah,
What
'cause
do you
that-
mean it's
That's the
changed?
big question I'm getting,
Yeah.
is because what I have shows that those 2 sites are no longer there.
No, that
And
will,
so-
that map will be removed from the website, and the one that Jack has now will be put up, he said, you said
Okay, but
tonight?
You can't tell me at this point if they have been removed?
Yes,
They
I
have
said.
been removed.
Okay, I'm
Yes.
sorry. If I wasn't clear, that's what I wanted to make sure of, so.
Yes, it's
because
a
I-
completely
I-
different map. And again, as we have hearings, that's the purpose of hearings, for input and to make adjustments.
Well, to no surprise, we have a lot of residents that are curious, and many wanted me to ask that question tonight, so.
right.
And many more would have been here tonight. I think some of the changes of dates that people thought the meeting was going to be later in August and planned vacations and, so there's a lot of folks that would have been here tonight. but
All right,
they're
well,
just
like I said, it'll be up tonight or tomorrow at the latest.
Okay, okay.
To be clear, the next meeting for the oil and gas ordinance update is September 4th.
Correct, yeah. But, all right, thank you.
Hopefully the final. Anybody else?
Hi, my name's Joanne Camerson, and I live at 208 Locust Street in Muse. I live in a duplex that's connected to 210 Locust Street, that I sent an email on May 20. Can you hear me? Okay. Okay, I live in a duplex. It's connected to 210 Locust Street, which I sent an email to all the supervisors on, okay, that's better, sorry. To all the supervisors on May 23rd of 2024. The house is abandoned. The people that lived there died 25 years ago. The son lived there, and he left in January. It has rats, it has high grass, it has everything, and I have to live next to it. And I'm going to cry. Right now, I'm going to start crying. I've called the code enforcement officer. I've talked to Mr. DeGenuso, and I've been patient, and I just want to know what you can do for me. I called today. He said, Mr. Barron says, come to the meeting today. He says, they all know about it. It's in the hands of the solicitor. Nothing he can do about it. There are property codes, 112.4, 112.5, about emergency measures. There's ordinances about cutting grass. Every year for the past, I'd say 4 years, I call every year. Okay, they have 30 days to cut the grass. They have 30 days to do this. We're going to send a fine. We're going to send a fine. They send a fine. The kid doesn't pay for it. Okay, they pour a warrant out for his arrest. Okay, did they ever arrest him? No. I called the magistrate's office. They say, oh, we usually don't pick up people for things like that unless we pick them up in a car. Well, the kid doesn't have a car. So now it's abandoned, and I have to live next to it with rats. I buy rat traps. I've cut the grass sometimes, 2 times in the past, this year so far, someone cut it, I don't know who, and it's bad again, and I can't do it no more. I'm 66 years old.
Can I tell you 2 things? I know some arrangements were made for somebody to cut it, a citizen to cut it and to clean up the outside. I know that'll happen because he said he would do it. The second thing is we understand there's a tax sale at the end of September.
At the end of September.
It's prudent for us to wait for that tax sale because some owner will come and they'll pay all the back taxes.
I understand that.
All right,
That's been going on for how long now? Last year they tried to sell it, okay? The county messed up, they had to void it. They says the error wasn't, there is no error, okay? There is no estate. Okay, now this is already, I've been calling since May. This is already August. Tax sale is into the end of September. It takes, if somebody buys it, okay, and not with that condemned sign on it, it's gonna take 2 months to transfer. What do I do till December?
Well, listen,
Buy rat traps?
But I want to tell you,
Cry?
the board is unanimous in that if it doesn't get cut, like the citizens said they would do, we will authorize somebody to go out and cut it and, on the outside.
What about the garbage and the food inside with the rats?
We got to get through that September date first. It's just not prudent for us to try to go into somebody's house. It requires going to court to get a court order.
We can't go into there.
There's emergency measures you read in these codes. Emergency repairs, cost of emergency repairs, and I've talked to the state, I've called representatives, I called this one, that one. They say it's up to the township. I called the county.
So what if we do this? So we've heard you, it is up for sheriff sale on the 22nd. We are promising you that if it does not sell on the 22nd of September, which is when the sheriff's sale is, that we will formally, this board will formally start the process to ask the court to allow us to go in and take it over. We can't just go in. We need a court to allow us to do that. So, but it is also prudent for us to wait and see if it does sell, because if we go, there's cost obviously associated with us going into the property.
But this ordinance says that, cost of emergency repairs. Who
Right,
does that? But it's gonna be 4 more months, and this has been, since January, this has been going on.
Well, like Tom said, there's a private citizen who has told us that he will cut the grass. Give us till our September meeting to see if that happens. I am confident that it will happen. Give us till September to see if that happens, and then let's hold off in a second. I just don't
So do I have
want
to deal with the rats and the garbage?
We can't do
So I have to
any,
deal with, no one could even come over on my porch.
I'm sorry?
No one can even come over on my porch. It's too embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I have a nice porch. Come on over now. I'll buy you pizza after the end of the meeting.
I appreciate that.
Come look at it. It's terrible.
I understand. I completely
They might, I'm
understand.
gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. I don't want them to. And
We
nobody
hear
can.
you. Let us see what we can do. Give us another couple weeks. We will get it cut. We will start the process if it doesn't sell.
Okay, what about the rats, though?
If it sells, it would be them. I mean, we can't, I don't know. I don't want to give you an answer that I can't promise, but give
Okay,
us a
when I
second.
talked to Mr. Januso and Mr. Barons, they say it's in the hands of the solicitor. Have you heard anything? Have you done anything or looked into it, or have they contacted you?
Yeah, so I helped walk them through the initial search warrant that they needed to inspect and then to condemn the property. Unfortunately, the next step is typically demolition, but because this is attached,
Okay.
you can't demolish, right?
Well,
Because it's a
then what can be
duplex.
done then?
Yeah, so that added some difficulty to the situation. So without being able to demolish, and there's nothing exterior that needs to be, repaired.
Oh, there's a hole in the gutters. My attic is connected to it. There's a hole. There's birds fly in there.
The issue is the interior, right? The issue is the trash and whatever is going on inside.
And
to
you
go-
should have, he
to go
probably sent you
inside-
pictures.
Yeah, we need to get the court order to go inside. So the IPMC only takes us so far, but to go in, like if this township were to go in, they would go in, the purpose would be to clean and lean the property, right? Clean it and then lean it, and that costs money.
So what if we do this? So I'm fairly confident that it's gonna sell at sheriff's sale, but if it doesn't, I am okay with it if you guys are okay with pre-authorizing Gretchen to move this process forward. That way you don't have to come back to us. We will already authorize her tonight to move the process forward if it doesn't sell on the 22nd at sheriff's sale. So you won't have to come back and ask, you won't have to call Dawn Januso and ask, you won't have to call Mike Behrens. We are authorizing her. I'm okay with it. Are you okay
Although
with
you'd
it?
have to put it on the agenda next month.
As a,
Yeah,
as a
so
retroactive.
formally
But
put it on
yes,
the
we
agenda
are
next
giving you
month.
our word that we are moving forward with this if it does not sell.
Okay, but you can't get a court order to go in there this week or next week.
No.
Mr. Behrens was in there, I think he was scared. He didn't even go down the basement. He says it was unsafe. I says, I went down the basement because the door's open.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
you know, let's have some sympathy for the people of Muse, because it's just not just me, it's people that live on the side, there's other people around there too. And no one cares
All
about
right,
Muse.
hopefully that'll be a solution.
Huh?
I said, hopefully that'll be our solution. Thank you.
Okay, I give up, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay.
Kevin Camerson, 15 Swihart Road. Just want to build on what Bill said about the public works on the right-of-way trimming. So I live on Swihart, I walk Swihart. I mean, those guys done a great job. I mean, they're neat up to the poles. I mean, they get behind the trees. I mean, commend those guys, doing a great job. Second thing, in regards to the current, well, the pending oil and gas ordinance, how do we, as residents and taxpayers, how do we get a recap of all the costs to date spent on redoing this ordinance, i.e. the cost of solicitor, advertising hearing, reporting at the hearings, staff costs, you know, at the meetings and everything? How do we get a recap of that cost to
You
date?
can request that.
So I can do a right to know to get it?
Yes, that's the best way to get it.
Okay, thanks.
AC Roland, Muse 52 Sycamore Street. Ready, Darlene? Good? So first, I wanted to thank Bill and Public Works for replacing the stop sign that we got vandalized with a giant green fallacy. Thank you for that. And I wanted to report on the vandalism happening in Muse. So far, in the last month, we've had, the most concerning one is we've had 2 guys going to our older citizens' homes in between 9 and 10:30 at night with hoodies, carrying a bag, knocking on people's doors, the average age about 80 years old, saying that they are from Jeffrey's Pharmacy, trying to get them to open the door. Both of these residents had sense enough to say, we don't have anything from Jeffrey's, and did not open the door. So we did report that to Sean. Thank you, Sean. But that's something that I want everybody in our communities, because if they're doing it in Muse, they're going to do it in your communities. And that's a good scam to get older folks to open their doors that late at night. 2, we've had 9 car tires with screws or nails in them. One poor neighbor got all 4 tires done. She went, had all 4 of them towed, replaced. The very next morning, she took off for work. By the time she got to work, 2 more nails were in her tires. She had to have her brand new tires hot patched. So now we're up to 11. We've had signs being hit with ball peen hammers. We've had 4 cars that have been keyed. One lady, brand new truck, young mother of 3, just saved up and got the vehicle keyed, and her back windows was smashed. They took nothing. 3 back windows, nothing taken. 2 tail lights shot out with what looks to be a BB gun. I have to really say thank you to Sean and the guys for coming out, taking our questions, helping us do the neighborhood watch that we put together. For any of the residents of Muse, if you are a homeowner, we have a Muse Residents Homeowners page that's now for Neighborhood Watch. And anybody that has video camera, you can post that to the Residents of Muse page, and we will get that information to Sean. And they have been very, very attentive, so thank you. And then kind of my last 2 questions are, who is our code enforcement guy? And because, unfortunately, Joanne's issue is not the only issue in Muse. We have about 9 properties. I went around and drove. They're in disarray. And I don't know how the landlords are getting away with it. If they've passed, if this is something else that our solicitor needs to look into condemning other properties, I'm highly encouraging that. And back to the right to know budgeting, how do we get that for what is Muse's budget? What percentage of the township's budget goes to Muse so that we as a village and as a community can figure out what we need to do as a community to make up the difference? Because right now, anything that we've been asked or requesting, other than from Sean, we're always told there's no money in the budget. So I would like to know, how do we find out what percentage of Cecil Township and our tax dollars go back into Muse? Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments?
Do you have a comment? So there's no way for me to find out, as a citizen, is that a right to know request?
Muse isn't, no, Muse isn't an independent village. We do all our township roads. There's no breakdown of the actual costs unless we do a paving project. We know those. But just to say what percentage, there's no such number that anybody can give you, even through a right to know. So I'm just saying, it's just,
So Muse is
it's a
not
part of the,
on a
no,
line
no, it's
budget?
not Muse, it's Cecil Township.
To be fair, AC, that's not true at all. Like,
I'm just
we
trying to
tell
figure it out.
people, we tell people all the time who have to come here that we can't help. We spend money on all the communities, including Muse. So to stand up there and say that every single thing that you come, not you, but Muse, people from Muse come and ask is just, it's just not true.
Several of us have written letters, and the general response is, there's no budget for that. So.
I mean, give me a
just as the
specific,
community
I
saying
can't,
We just want to make up the difference. So if we have needs in our community, then we'll do a fundraiser, then we'll do a boot drive, then we'll do, or something along those lines. We'll sell candy bars, or we'll get the old ladies to make pierogies and sell them, or patels. We just want to figure out where we can help our community, because we kind of feel left out in Muse. We do.
I
And it's
agree-
not you
I agree with
personally, we
you.
appreciate you guys.
I need a
but
specific,
it does
you have to give me a
affect-
specific example. I literally can't think of anything
What was
that's been
asked for?
requested.
I'm sorry.
what was asked for
Yeah.
that someone told you there's no money for?
Well, they're, about getting different properties, addressed, there's no money for that.
It's not that there's no money, there's laws that we have to follow. We are required to follow laws. We cannot just go on private property and take over. And to be fair, Muse is not the only community with properties that need to be addressed. So we are bound by laws. But outside of properties, give me an example of something that a resident of Muse has asked for that we've just said there's no money in the
I'll
budget.
get I'll tell you what, because I don't want to misrepresent. I'll get them to address it through our community board, and I'll bring it next meeting, I'll have a whole list. How many would you like?
Fair enough, fair enough.
Thank you.
All right.
But no, you guys.
Give it to us in advance. Don't just bring it here and start asking for things. Send
I'm
it.
sorry?
If you have a list, send it in advance. It won't do any good to come here and hit us cold with a list.
Give us the opportunity. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
But at
thanks.
the same time, I mean, it just feels like with the vandalism and everything, and thank you again for what you're doing.
Mr. Chair, can I
I
talk?
mean,
And
to be
it's-
fair, AC, vandalism is a problem across the whole board. A week ago, there was somebody in our neighborhood, if anybody's car was left open, somebody went through the car and like took all the change. Like, unfortunately, it's just, it happens.
Yeah, and I would like just to add, and AC and I did talk, and we do have officers patrolling extra, and they are watching out in the community. I encourage that for everybody in Cecil Township. If you see something, call 911. She even told me, and I believe her, because we don't get all the calls, that residents are reluctant to call the police. Call the police, let us investigate it, let us get out there while the incident's happening. So we and her, she's encouraging the residents in Muse, but I encourage everyone in Cecil Township, whether you're working here or living here, to call 911 and report it to the police. And it's not happening.
Thank you, Sean.
Video
Thank you.
doorbell cameras are all of our friends. Just so
All
you
right.
know.
Is there any other old business? Any board members, old business?
Ish, I've
Oh, go ahead.
So I had last month mentioned that I intend to apply for grants. Bill, I need your input too, and I don't need an answer right this second, but I started the process, and I was gonna reach out to Dan, of looking into what grants are available, specifically LSA for Klinger, but was also approached by our state rep because he'd done the splash pad grant in South Fayette, and he said there's money for that. So I guess the question is what the board wants and what you want is, do you want the splash pad to go in Klinger? Do you want that to be a separate grant application? They're gonna ask us to rank our grant applications. I know. But we could also say no splash pad, and we could just move forward with the grant that I was gonna start on. Because the grant, it opens up the beginning of September and runs through the end of October, and then I'll have to defend it in December. We could talk.
Here's a new swing set.
Yeah, we can talk. So can I meet with Bill and Dan and come up with a list and do more than one?
Yeah, send us some options too.
Okay. Okay, let's meet this week, because the grant applications open at the beginning of September.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I've been approached by a resident on Swihart Road to the signs that are being defaced with a lot of vulgarity, and they want to know if there's what we can do about it.
Looking into this thing, there are 7 speed limit signs that have been defaced with various types of sayings, or it's really hard to, and I've talked to Sean about this. Sometimes they'll tag them and there's a tag associated with somebody. But there were 7 speed limit signs and 1 range resources sign for prohibiting jake breaks down there. So a total of 8 signs have been defaced down there. I have the speed limit signs to replace them. You can't take that off of there without removing the numbers also. There is, however, a new laminate that they've just come out with, that you can laminate the entire front of the sign, that you can take and use a graffiti remover on it without taking the numbers off the sign. And that's what the problem we have with the graffiti remover. It takes the numbers off the sign. So I'm looking into this. It's a sheet product that we would laminate over top of signs when we get them, and then trim it with a utility knife and put them up. And that would, and it wouldn't be for all the signs, but in isolated locations like Swihart Road or over on Baker, places like that, you know, that's where we need to put them. So comes in a roll. Yep. So.
And the resident also said that he's going to put up cams to see if they can, if this gets done and fixed, he's going to do the 100
Don't tell them that
cams.
publicly.
What's that?
Don't tell them about cameras publicly.
Well, that's okay. They're not here anyway. Who's doing it?
I should probably purchase a couple of trail cams for a couple of dumping locations that we have out there. You know, they like to sneak in.
Well, then we'll get Sean in on the license plate numbers.
All right. Any new business? Nothing else? Okay, if there is no further business, this meeting is declared adjourned. And thank you. That was a good idea, Cindy, about pre-authorizing her to go into Muse, go to the house.
Emergency measures.